Hey everyone, and welcome. First of all, a huge congratulations on your engagement. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how to use this wedding planner step by step. You don't need to be an expert in Google Sheets to use this planner. If you can type in a box, you can plan in your dream wedding. Let's dive in. When you first open the planner, you'll land on the How to Use tab. This is your quick start guide. This tab tells you how to get started, how to fill in the spreadsheet, how to add a photo or image, how to update your meal options, which we'll go through later when I'm going through the guest list, some tips for beginners, and over here is your meal option settings, which I'll explain when we get to the guest list tab. The first step is how to navigate between the tabs. So you just click on the tabs to navigate between them, or you can click on the arrows to scroll right or left, or you can click here and you can simply choose to go to the sheet that you want to. Now let's look at the dashboard. Think of this as your wedding snapshot. You don't actually need to type anything on this page because everything here is all linked to everywhere else in the workbook. So everything is formula driven. This is just a summary. So the top part is your key wedding details. Then we have your budget summary. You've got your total budget for the wedding, total you've spent, the total remaining, and how much of your budget you've used. Then we've got two graphs. This one, the budget allocation, it just shows you how much you've allocated between the different categories. There's the budget versus actual spending, so you can see how much you've budgeted for versus how much you spent on each category. So, for example, for the rings, actually budgeted for $20,000, but you've only spent like about $1,000. Then we've got an RSVP summary, so you can see how many guesses have replied, how many are yet to reply. Then lastly, you've got a planning in progress. So you can see how much task you've completed and how many you need to complete. Right next to the dashboard is your mood board. This is a fun space where you can paste your inspiration photos, set your color palette, and anything to do with styling. So I've already set my color palette for this wedding. It's a Bull Hall garden theme wedding. So here are my colors. Here's my hex value. What you need to do is to replace these colors with your own color palette. So you can go here and then you choose your color and you just type in the hex value. I'm just going to undo that. And over here, you just paste the inspiration images which you have. Here are my images. So what you need to do is to delete my images. Just click here, press delete, and paste your own image. To paste an image, just put your cursor here on the cell. Then go to Insert, Image, Insert Image over Sales. Assuming that your images are saved on your computer, you click here to browse your computer. Select your image. Now you've got to resize. Now you've got to resize your image. Now let's talk about getting things done. You have two main task trackers. First is the weekly task tab. This breaks down your planning into a 40-week countdown. It tells you exactly what you should be focusing on each week so you don't get overwhelmed. If you prefer a brain dump style, jump over to the master to-do list. Here you can list out every item that you need to complete. In both tabs, there's a status drop down. So you just change that to the status, whether it's in progress, done, or canceled, or delegated to someone else. And there's also a priority column. So you choose the priority of the item. We also have a timeline. So this timeline tells you what needs to be done 12 months before the wedding, 11 months before the wedding, 10 months before the wedding, and so on. Okay, the big one, the budget. In the budget section, we've got one budget overview tab and 20 budget tabs, one for each category. There's 20 categories. Firstly, I'm going to explain the budget overview tab. So this tab, you don't touch any of the formulas here. We don't need to complete anything here because all the sales link to somewhere else in the workbook. At the top is the budget summary, so just the total of you spent, the total you budget for, the total of you spent, the remaining amount, and the total of the budget that you've used. The bottom part is your budget allocation by the 20 categories. And here are the categories that I've set: venue, catering, photography, etc., etc. So for each of these categories, there's a separate tab. So each line links to the tab. So you can see that this one, the venue, links to the budget menu tab. The catering links to the budget catering tab. So when you start to complete each of the individual tabs, this page will update automatically. So I'll just show you how to complete one of the tabs. So I'm just going to go to the budget menu. So the rule with these budget terms is that any of the sales that are in white or cream, you can enter data in. So here, the sales here, and this total budget sale here, you can enter anything else. They're hinders. Any of the cells that are colored, you don't enter anything in because they're formula driven. So with this spreadsheet, I've populated all the data with some sample data. Feel free to delete what I have or add or replace the data here with your own data. Okay, so what you do first, you just enter the total amount that you've allocated for the venue. Then you enter each item, each details like the invoice date, the due date, the amount, how much you've paid, and the status, which could be like a deposit paid, is paid in full, is overdue, is canceled, and if you have any notes relating to that item. So everything here on this tab, this budget menu tab, links back to the budget overview tab, so you can see the total amount budgeted for venue is $10,000, and that's links to this sale here, and the total amount that I've spent, it's $4,830, which is also here, and that amount is here, and then this remaining amount is simply, budgeted minus spent, and, the rest are formula driven, how much of the budget you spent, and then the status, whether it's on track, you're over budget or under budget. So it's all the same for the rest of the 20 categories, like budget's photo, budget video. They're all the same format. You do the same thing, just fill in the individual items, and you just replace the budget with your total amount to be budgeted. Now, the guest management. This planner allows you to track up to 200 guests. So what you do, you just need to fill in the details of all your guests. First name, last name, RSVP, email, phone, meal choice, dietary needs, table number, which side they're from, the bride or groom or both, and some other notes. Use your meal choice. You just complete a drop-down list. At the beginning of this tutorial, when I was explaining the how to use tab, I went over the meal choice. So this list here is actually coming from a list in the how to use tab. So here I've got chicken, beef, lamb, the vegetarian, etc. Now I'm going to show you how to update that list because you're going to have to do that for your own wedding. Okay, so I'm going to go over back to the how to use tab. And at the bottom of this tab, there's the meal option settings. So what you do is update this list to your own mains. So just say here, I'm going to change lamb to fish. Okay. And then now I'm going to go back to the guest tab. Now I'm going to go to this drop-down list again, and you'll see that lamb has changed to fish. So that's how you update the meal choice. This wedding planner has seating charts for about 200 guests. And I've got them across 3 different. The first tab, the seating 1, you've got a seating chart for the head table. And you've got the seating chart for the first 8 tables. So what you do, you just fill in the guest's name according to the seating position. So seat 1's here, enter guest 1 here, seat 2 here. You get enter guest 2 here. Same with the tables. I've assumed that the tables are 8-seater round tables because that's what most rereading receptions have. So again, the seat in position 1, I'll enter the guest name 1. The seat in position 2, I'll enter the second guest, and so on. You just complete it to how many tables you have. The next tab is the same thing for the next group of 8 tables. And then there's also another tab which you might or might not use. The rest of the planner is pretty easy to fill out because there's no formula. Okay, so there's the ceremony tab, that just has the details of the ceremony, the order of the service, the vows, reception details, reception timeline, the menu, decor. Then I've got the vendors, which is a directory for the vendors, the venue, the photographer, caterer, florist, hair and booty, etc. Then the wedding party, that's just a directory of the wedding party, the bridesmaid, groomsmen, flower girl. There's a love story, if you want to fill this in. It's just a background on the couple's history. There's the attire and beauty, like the wedding dress, the groom's attire, the hair, makeup, to do the beauty schedule. Then we've got flowers, the bouquets. Then we've got photography and music. Honeymoon, flights, accommodation. And there's a section on pre-wedding events like the hen's party, Brock's party, bridal shower, rehearsal dinner. We've also got a gift registry. So, you've just like the other trackers, you just fill in the items, priority, widow's purchase. Then there's a transportation planner, bridal transport, guest shuttle service, parking information, the day of the transport schedule, contingency plans. Then you got a wedding day. So that's the schedule of the wedding day, timeline, the morning checklist, emergency checklist, vendor quick reference. It's a good idea to print out this page with the wedding day. Then there's after the wedding, so there's a checklist on what you need to do after the wedding, some memories, reflections, and lastly, just some space. Put your own notes to complete the planner. Okay, well, almost at the end of this tutorial, and before you go, I just want to show you how to print out the pages. So to print anything out, you just go to File, Print, and you just select what you want to print. So that's how I'm printing this sheet. It would be the current sheets. And after that, you just click Next. Choose your printer, and then just print. Thank you for watching this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to message me. Good luck with your wedding planning. Bye for now.